we as Africans, one of the things that we do not know is that we don't know what it is to be a successful African. In this world that we live in, people take education at face value. You study accounting, then become a CA, and that's your route. You study engineering, become an engineer. Like we are like horses running in the track. We cannot. We're not taught to pivot. I'm not going to teach my kids how to save. I'm going to teach them how to monetize their talents. If there's no migrants in SA will still be the same. Probably worse.
I don't think jobs are scarce.
In what way? In what way?
Africans on Africa. Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of Africans on Africa podcast. I am really excited about this episode because we are being sponsored by Kitapo Spirits, the makers of African gin. And I'm joined today by the founder and CEO of Kitapo Spirits, Tino Gavaza. So same there.
Bo, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, man.
I want to know about the story of Kitapo Spirits and how the gin came about and the idea behind that. I want to get to know more about that. But I think first I want to get to know, because I met you during COVID.
Yeah.
And we're delivering. During the lockdown, right? It was allowed.
During provision.
No, during the lockdown.
Yeah, when it was allowed. Yeah. That's when you actually met, actually.
Yeah. And I've loved Kitapo since then. But I want to get to know about you. Like, where are you from? How did you get to be here? And how did Kitapo come to
life? Okay, so I'm as I said, as you introduced me, I'm Tino Gavaza. Okay, Tino Tendaishe Gavaza, but obviously Tino is the shortened version. Otherwise, it's a tongue twister for most. I was born in Harare, Zimbabwe. Actually, I was born in Parenyato Hospital. That's what it says on my birth certificate. I'm the last born of 4 kids, 2 girls, 2 boys, and my brother is the firstborn, and then we have 2 sisters in the middle, so it's a good little sandwich there. So I grew up in Harare, Zimbabwe. I was educated there, more or less. I went to Adbeni Primary. Then after that, I went to Lord Malvern for 2 years, and then went to Goromonzi. And then after Goromonzi, I took 2 gap years because, my father passed away a week before my A-level, so I had to take mental time.
Yeah.
And I did well in my A's. Actually, no one thought I was going to do well. I actually thought I was going to repeat. I just went in, you don't know what you're doing because you're coming from, there's a lot going on. So I did well enough to get into UCT, to study business, science, computer science in there, more or less. And then,
what year are we in now?
So I finished my A-levels in 2003. So then I take one, it's a funny story. I took 1 gap year, and then my brother had applied to the University of Stellenbosch for me to go there to do engineering, because I really wanted to become an engineer, because I have always looked up to my brother, and he's a civil engineer himself, more or less. So my dream was actually to start an engineering company with him at some point in time in our lives. But obviously, I put 2 options, and computer science back then, it was an up and coming thing. Everyone is like, go to IT, do this and that. And also during my break, I went to Spaces College to do a computer coding degree. So I just started liking coding and stuff. And then, I actually came for all week at University of Stellenbosch. To be honest, I had a place at the University of Stellenbosch, and once everything was done and we had registered, they told me that I have to do a year of Afrikaans before I can start my degree. To be honest, education is already hard. Doing it in English, so I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. So I called my mom, and then that's how I ended up with 2 gap years.
This is at Stellenbosch. They wanted you to have the balls on the...
No, as in, now it's very transformed, but back then it was a very, very...
How far was this from the list of time?
Wait?
There was a time when Stellenbosch was protesting that aspect that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it was called Listdag.
I'm not sure, but I think I was in 3rd year at UCT or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
I heard about it. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was education there was mostly in Afrikaans. more or less. And then, so I was like, I don't think it is possible because I'm bad with languages. Like, I mean, I've failed languages from when I was in primary school. I'm good at everything else, but languages, I'm bad at it. Like, as in, I don't even know how I speak two. So anyway, and then, so I had, one of my cousins was already at UCT, more or less. So I sent in my application with ETC, and then they accepted me for computer science, not engineering, but computer science. So I was like, okay, let me just go and do computer science. So that's how I ended up at UCT. A year later. So the 2 gap years were good, but then, when you're used of studying, because I was in boarding school and our school was quite intense in terms of studying and stuff like that. Yeah. So when you take 2 gap years, your brain is a muscle. Yeah. So I had to literally catch up and start studying again and all of that. Then I studied computer science at UCT. And then after that, I met actually my girlfriend in my second year, and she was in third year then. I had 2 gap years, so she's younger.
Allow me to just.
I need to let you know, intellectually, she is older than me, but she's younger than me, more or less. Then so we started dating in 2007. Yeah, now she's my current wife, more or less. Mon. She's my wife, my forever. But yeah, anyway, and then so graduated from the university then, and then then I started my first company then.
So maybe take me through what happened after that. And Tabisa, I just wanted to give you a note. You know how you're Zimbabwean. If a person is Zimbabwean, they get rejected from engineering, and they disappointed that they get accepted into computer science. That's how it is. And okay, so what? So after that, where did your journey take you?
So after that, so all my friends are gone, so I'm left by myself because I was the one. Like for me, entrepreneurship, it's not like I had to how people think about what's my next step. I want to do this entrepreneurship, but then I have to go and do a corporate job so that I can raise more cash and then come back and live. For me, it wasn't that. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur from a very young age. So before that, I was building websites for fun, more or less. It was one of those things where it was. I just was playing around with things because it was fun to do. So when I was in this time, after all of this had happened, I was approached by about 3 companies that said, okay, can you build us our websites and online systems and stuff? So that's when I pivoted. We started building websites, online stores, payment systems for companies, etc. And now that company is still alive and well. It's now called Chikundi Digital. We just rebranded and all of that. And we're still doing the same thing.
How did you get from the technical parts and the tech savvy parts and playing with code to Kitapo? For me, that's the fascination, because I'm really fascinated about people, specifically migrants in South Africa, who are not only starting businesses, but also creating opportunities and creating opportunities that not only benefit them, but also benefit other people. What does that look like for you in terms of the businesses that you have done? Because it sounds like you're a person who is not taking jobs, but creating jobs.
Yeah, I think I think let's go back to the whole concept of what is an entrepreneur, really? As in, what is it? Because it's your own definition of what you want it to be, because a lot of people have a misconception that I want to start my business so that I have more time to myself and so that I can have freedom. But entrepreneurs who are in the game will tell you nah, that's nonsense. I'd rather have a corporate job, because the way we work more than anyone else, because I can tell you right now, there are times where I can go for months sleeping for 3 hours. I sleep at 12 in the evening and wake up at 3 and work, and then what? Because once you get into entrepreneurship and have a steady business and then have employees, it's not just your life anymore. that's in your hands. It's their lives.
What
That's
does that
in your
look like
hands.
in terms of employees? How does or what does that look like currently
On each company or what?
overall?
As in the numbers or as in who do I?
Average number of people who you have created jobs for, or
For Chikunda, I think we have about 9 people, but we also outsource a lot. We use a lot of freelancers, more or less, if there's a lot of projects, more or less, there. And then for the distillery, we also have about 9 to 10 people, more or less, that side. Yeah, and so our distillery is run by Best Spirits of Africa with one of my good partners, Morris. Amazing guy. He used to be head of mergers and acquisitions for Distel, and then he decided to start his own stuff. So yeah, I like working with him. He's an amazing mentor, amazing person to look up to as well. So I do have people that I also look up to, people that when I'm feeling a type of way, I can just go and talk to them, and then they can show me the ropes, more or less. And then our latest project is Igasietu. That's our energy company, more or less. We have a storage farm in Saldana. That's my legacy project. That's the project that I want to pass down to my kids, to my people, to Africa, more or less, because there's a lot of energy poverty in Africa, more or less. So I just want to play my part in terms of helping that. So in that project, in our first phase, we want to employ at least 1.2 thousand youths from disadvantaged backgrounds, more or less. So that is the project that's going to create more employment than anything else that I've been doing.
Why is that important to you? You said legacy project, you wanna play your part. Why is that important? Why not like just make your money, live your life, fancy car, fancy house?
I don't think I don't know. I think me as a person, I'm not gonna. I don't think it's anything to do with pride or ego or anything like that. I just think I'm an African and I'm a proud African, right? And what for you? Okay, I think we as Africans, one of the things that we do not know is that we don't know what it is to be a successful African. It's not written, because a lot of people that are successful, even in the African context, I'm not gonna try and offend anyone, but their version of success is that they have taken it from white people who are not African. So if I get, when I'm thinking what is my version of success? What does it mean to be successful? The person that is next to me, my neighbors, all of those people, they're white people. So I'm looking at them, and that is what success looks like. So we don't have a definition of what does it mean to be a successful African person. So for me, my version of success is how many people can I bring up the mountain with me, more or less, and how many opportunities can I give to other people, more or less, and how many lives can I change as I do this, as I do this journey. Yes, making money is good. I mean, living a good life is nice. I mean, we all want that.
Yeah.
But as in, it has to go, what's gonna wake you up every morning? Because entrepreneurship is hard. Money cannot be the only motivator there. Because at some point in time, you get stuck if it's only about money.
You mentioned that you wanted to be an entrepreneur since you were young.
Yeah.
Right? But where does that come from? Because I think you can't just say you wanted to be an entrepreneur when you're young. And I'm linking that to the motivations that you're talking about now. Where does that come from in terms of, I want to be an entrepreneur and this is what I want? If it's not coming from just making money, where does that come from?
I think it's my mom. My mom, shout out to Chipo. Amazing mom.
Shout out to
The first name.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Call your mom by her first name.
yeah, that's her name. It's also my daughter's name, bruh.
You call your mom by her first name.
Yeah, I can give her a call and say, "What's up, Chipo?"
What did you call your mom?
Ma. Ma.
It's like, are you one of those people who's like, when you hear your mother's name, you're like, no, she doesn't have a name. And then
No. Do you call your mom by her first name?
Yeah.
I don't call her by her first name, but I'm telling you what her name is.
No, but my mom is called Charity. You can call her Sis Charity.
What do you call her?
Sometimes you call her Sis Charity.
You call her Sis Charity?
Yes, because
No, but I was
Charity. But
What?
no, but I can call my mom and say Dave Chipo, and she just gives a laugh, like, okay, you know what? It's no disrespect. I even named my first child after her, so my child's name is Chipo as well. So if I say hey Chipo,
can
she
you call
go.
your mom and call her?
I can call her now and.
Tabis, can you call your mom and greet her with her first name?
No.
I'm like, what? Look,
Okay, it'll be weird. She's gonna be like, you got an emergency or something. What's going on?
no, as in also I'm the last born, so there's that also relationship that me and my mom are very close. You know, so there's that thing whereby I call her, you know, hey logo, you know, go, cause now she has grandkids. I call her, hey Chipo, how you? Even call her with her middle name, hey Lo Chinando. She knows that I'm there to joke, and then she starts laughing like, "We know you're crazy," but it's not like it's coming from a disrespectful thing. It's just the nature of our relationship. So, but my mom was a nurse, and then after that, she had a lot of little ventures. Growing up, she had like a what you call it, catering business. She had a fashion business. She had a curtain business. She had a lot of things that were going on. So I think when she gave birth to me, she just poured all of that onto me. So yeah, to the point whereby when I was in primary school, my teacher told my mom, like, this one is not going to work for people. He's going to start his own stuff.
So you've never worked for a person, right?
I did. For a couple of weeks, and then I was like, nah, it's not my life.
Weeks. That's the CV. Yeah.
No, I've done, let me tell you, I've done, in building, like in starting my companies, I worked some part-times because, I mean, you got to pay the rent, you got to put fuel in the car. And also, I had a kid while we were in university, me and the wife.
What jobs did you do to them?
So I was an English teacher.
You said don't like languages.
You gotta hustle, dog.
Okay.
No, as in, teaching English, I don't think there's anything to do with languages and stuff. And then, I mean, they give you exactly what to say to. So it was like it's on online schools in Woodstock, in Cape Town. I think they're still there, if I'm not mistaken. Panji, I met very good people. I'm still in touch with some of them. Very good. And then, but after that, did I even work? No, after that, I think TWT started doing okay. And then I was able to maintain that and then started the next projects after that. Then, more or less.
And for me, it's like the audacity to start so many companies in South Africa, like as a Zimbabwean, you know. How was that? How was that process for you? Like starting companies, building companies, and investing into the economy. How was that for you? How has that been, actually?
As I said, I'm not like a lot of people. For me, it was easy. Because for me, I'm doing what I like as in, this is what I wake up in the morning and say I want to do. But as in, what stops a lot of people is that people second guess themselves. And also, there is a thing where there is not enough information out there for people who want to start companies. I always say this. There's not a lot of information out there for people who want to start companies. Also, while we're on this topic, I was actually speaking to my mentee the other day. His name is John. So I'm also an entrepreneurship mentor for Allen Green and MasterCard because I also want to, the little knowledge that I have, I also want to share it with other entrepreneurs that are up and coming, more or less, so that I can tell them, okay, I went through this. So if you want to, and if they have anything that they want to navigate, I kind of like, okay, yeah, we.
But if I'm that entrepreneur and I want to find that information, you said it's not easy. It's not easy.
It's there, but it's not there. It's not like it's not easy to find. Like if you know where to find it, you'll find it.
Do you not think it's like a necessary quality filter for entrepreneurship?
I don't think so. I think it needs to be there. Let me tell you, there's a lot of problems in Africa and a lot of things that needs to be solved. So for us to filter, I think it's a disservice to ourselves as well, more or less. So I was actually telling you about my conversation with John. So I always thought that, like, I'm not sure what you guys think about the state of education or tertiary education in Africa. I really think that it is a wonder that we go through, primary school, high school, we go through university. But coming out of a university like UCT, which is the best university in Africa, and so meaning that if you go to UCT, you're probably the cream of the crop in Africa, right?
Is the reality like that though?
But the thing is that my point I'm getting to is that why is it that you come from UCT and your dream is to work corporate? When I was at UCT, there's not even once whereby we are at Jamie Stays or whatever. I was invited to an entrepreneurship event to talk about people who want to get into entrepreneurship. It's all corporate, it's all like, what is your next job? What does your job look like? A lot of that is career. Yeah. No one comes to you and talks to you about entrepreneurship. No one comes to you and talks to you about all of that stuff. So when you leave such an institution and you have zero knowledge, by the way, what are you to do if you want to start your own business? Yes, they are, I think now they started an entrepreneurship society and all of that stuff at UCT. I actually spoke there, I think last year or beginning of this year, I'm not too sure. But it's coming. But you can see that there are a lot of kids, a lot of students that aspire to become entrepreneurs, but there is just not enough knowledge for them to make such a decision.
But apart from there not being aspects that help you facilitate the process of being an entrepreneur, what do you think about the education system itself? Did it prepare you to be an entrepreneur, or you had to get knowledge from elsewhere? Because I think you're talking about something that's external to the education system, but was the educational system sufficient?
The education system, it helped me, it helped me use my brain. I always tell people this, because in this world that we live in, people take education at face value. You study accounting, then become a CA, and that's your route. You study engineering, become an engineer. We are like horses running in the track. We're not taught to pivot. Like, you do this, you study social sciences, you go to HR, you study this, you do that. But where I think I learned it from a very early age that I don't take education at face value. Education is there to help me think, to help me solve problems, to help my brain grow and apply myself into solving problems, solving issues. That's how I thought I got education. But I know that most of my friends from UCT and other places, like, education has been that thing that we were taught that, education is like, you do a medical doctor degree, then your job is to work in a hospital. You study actuary, your job is to work for insurance companies. You study coding, your job is to be to code or be whatever, and then you aspire to climb the corporate ladder. We are not taught, okay, if I am good at IT, I want to start my own IT company. If I'm a doctor, I want to start my own chain of hospitals. If I'm a vet, same thing. How do we monetize our talent? We're not taught that. We are taught to just have education and get into a cog in a whole system that's already there. We're not start. Exactly. And I always wondered that, why is it that the whole class of MBAs at UCT, let's say the 2024 class, all of them will graduate and none of them will start a business. But you go to Harvard, Stanford, 99% of that class, everyone is starting their own business.
But I think...
So what's the difference between our MBA and their MBA? What's happening in our education system that's not happening?
But I think it segues nicely into a conversation that I wanted to have, and the conversation that started this engagement, which is, so this aspect that we are forced to focus on, which is layered in a way that migrants are stealing jobs, but also the perception that there are no jobs, and also the perceptions of job scarcity. Like, do you think we are forced to focus on that? Or is it something that we should even think about in terms of scarcity of jobs? Because now you're saying entrepreneurship, Harvard, and then everybody starts a business. But who works in that business? Who's going to work at that business? Are there jobs, or or all those people who are graduating from universities are...
There's not enough jobs, if that's the question.
Or maybe links to what you say.
And corporate
Africa has a lot of problems, and we need people who build solutions.
Exactly. Because the thing is that corporates are not creating enough jobs. And people are not retiring early because, I mean, people are not retiring early. Like, the economy cannot allow me to retire at 60. It can't, because I will not be able to survive on my, on my retirement, in my pensions loan. Yeah. So the government is not creating enough jobs. Corporate is not creating enough jobs. It's left the private sector, the entrepreneurs. If entrepreneurs start companies that succeed, then they can employ more people. That's what I'm saying. Africa needs more entrepreneurship, because that's the only way we can create employment, more or less, to be honest. So if I'm not going to say education system, but if we start teaching our kids early on how they can, I'm not going to say monetize their talents. That's better. I always tell my wife that I'm not going to teach my kids how to save. I'm going to teach them how to monetize their talents. My daughter wants to be a vet. I'm like, okay, be a vet. Go out there, get 5 years experience. After that, you're starting your chain of veterinary clinics, because that's the only way you can build wealth. Let me tell you, in this economy, in this age, there is not there are other people that are getting a whole lot of money and you can say, but let me tell you, if let's say you're making a decent 30K, 40K a month, and then you get your house and then you're paying 20K on the house, and then you get your car, you're paying probably plus insurance 8K, that's 28K gone. Your groceries are going to be 5K. How much are you left with? Then we're going to factor in black tax in there.
Yeah.
How much do you have to save?
And you want an iPhone.
Exactly.
Netflix.
There's a lot of things there, But also, one thing I think, the conversation that we as Black people were not taught money. Like, talking about money, there were conversations that when we were growing up, we were not privy to. Like the money conversation, the sex conversation, all of these things. Like, we were not taught money. Does it make sense? Because if you look at other cultures, like, I'm going to go back to white people, even Indian people, they're taught money at a very young age. They're not taught, let me tell you, we heard the...
Bro, what kind of wrinkle is that? I can just interrupt, man. You can just interrupt.
Okay, so we're talking about money. That's what we're talking about. And saving. And then I was like, okay,
You told you
we're not gonna, I'm not gonna teach my kids how to save money. I'm gonna teach them how to build wealth. Those are two different things. Saving money is like you're making $20, save the R2. We're not gonna build any generational wealth with that. We're not gonna bring any wealth. Don't even speak generational. Any wealth with saving money. You gotta be able to monetize your talent. What talent do you have? Right? As I said, my kid wants to, like my firstborn, Chipo, wants to be a vet. Yes, go and do what you want to do, because that's what you love. But I'm going to drill in entrepreneurship in you so that by year 5 of your career as a vet, I want you to start your own chain of clinics, of veterinary clinics in your own image, so that you can monetize your talent, because you're already a vet. Why are you working? Like, as I get, someone has to work for someone. But that's not what I want to build in my kids. I want you to, okay, yes, I'm a vet, but you can start a chain of companies that can create employment, create value for yourself as well.
Yeah.
In your own image and stuff like that.
Maybe let's use that in getting to Kundi's question. In terms of saying, okay, she's a vet. She might have a good salary and then she can raise money. But what if someone is saying, I want to be an entrepreneur, because we're talking about a category of people also who went to varsity and then they have the start and then they build from there. What if someone is saying, I don't have money, I want to start building, and the information is not there? And how does that person start?
Well, okay. I think the first thing that the first piece of advice that I can tell someone before you start is, are you ready to start? Because, as I said, entrepreneurship is not kids play, especially big entrepreneurship. Not, the people who start a business, but if you want to do it big time, it's not something that to play with. So you gotta know what is it that you're willing to sacrifice to actually do it, more or less. And then now going to your question, more or less, as in where do you start? Obviously, you start by looking for information about, okay, how do I start a business? Number one. Okay, starting a business in South Africa, a lot of people do not know that. Registering a company is 170 Rand. Literally, and if you're an F&B person, you can literally go on your app and register a company. And the CIPC is easy to access. You can do that. You can register your company, more or less. Or you can go on, it's called Bees What? They have a new plan. Huh?
This community. Business needs.
Bees, they have a new platform. That's Bees Portal. Bees Portal. A new platform that you can go and do your thing and all of that. Like, right. But before you even get to a point where you are registering your company, number one, information is vital. Number two, are you starting a business that already exists? Or are you opening yourself tomato store in a place where everyone else is selling tomatoes? So those are two different things. Because if I want to come up with, if I have a new idea, what is it? And then before even we get to like what you're trying to open, do a lot of research. Do research on what you're trying to do. Okay. Well, number one, you're going to ask yourself the question, what is does your ideas, is there any problem that you're trying to solve? That is the idea, the solution. After that, you have to ask yourself, if it's the solution, how many people are willing to pay for my idea? Is there a market for your idea? Because you can have the most brilliant idea, but if I'm not willing to pay bucks for your idea, then it means that it's not a feasible project as well. Ne? So more or less, you got to know that is the market, all of that. And then after the market, then, okay, you have to ask yourself, okay, how do I access this said market that I have? More or less. So there's a lot that goes into starting a business, because a lot of people rush into registering the company. I want to start this, I want to start that. And then they just put in money and they don't know, number one, who's your target market? Who's your what's your customer profile? All of that. No market research, none like that. And then they fail, and then they wonder why we failed. You did not put in the work. Because people think that by the time you start selling, the amount of work that you should have put in it has to be crazy. Because a lot of people rush to sell the first thing without doing any research or anything like that, more or less. So you gotta do your groundwork. You have to build a whole or a foundation and groundwork, and then by the time you start selling, you know the intricacies of everything that's going to happen in your business. You have already done the research alone, and then you have already done projections, financial projections, which are very important, of which a lot of people start businesses without projecting, not knowing that, okay, what do I need to do in the next 3? Okay, because of COVID, a lot of people have cut the projection from 5 years to 3 years. What is it that I'm willing to, like, how can it look like in 3 years? Based on my assumptions, because there is no, let me tell you, there's no financial projections that are right. We're all thumb sucking, we're all guessing. But can you justify your guesses? That is,
can you put some data to it?
Yeah, can you put some data in it and stuff like that? Yeah.
You know, I was thinking of that point that you're making, right? And in terms of, like, I was going to ask a question in terms of perceptions of, for example, migrants stealing jobs and all of that, you know, globally, not even within the South African context. So do you think that is an inability for people to create solutions and want to adapt or catch on to people's solutions? Because you are basically saying that we need people to make solutions, and you're basically saying that you need to think of what you can sell, and if people are going to buy it, the market decision, all of that. But people are saying there are no jobs, and migrants are stealing jobs, not only in South Africa, everywhere around the world. So do you think it is an inability for people to provide, create, and facilitate solutions?
No, I don't think that is the conversation. It's all politics, my guy. It's all politics.
In what way?
Because let me tell you, the people that are failing the people are the governments. The government in any country where you are hearing that, it's what's failing the people. They have to divert that failure to someone else. That's when migrants come in, about stealing jobs.
So are you saying there's still jobs?
I'm saying that I don't think migrants are stealing jobs. I think if there is no migrants in SA will still be the same. Probably worse.
How would it still be the same though? Because migrants are investing a lot in South Africa, but also, and like you say you're creating opportunities, unless you say you hire only Zimbabweans or.
Oh no. I don't have I hire anyone that fits into
You took so
it. No. As in, I hire anyone because I have my own philosophy in terms of hiring. I hire people that fit into what I envision in my company because I love people to love to come to work. So it has to be that person that I know they're not going to cause any issues in my system.
Yeah.
More or less. So when it comes to migrants stealing jobs, you know what? It's, as I said, I think it's a political discussion in all countries that we hear that. The louder it is, the more you know that the government is messing around.
Maybe is the government messing around and how's the government failing the people, in your opinion?
In which country are you talking about? Are we talking about where we are right now? There's not enough jobs being created and the government is the biggest employer. And if there is a certain percent, what's the current unemployment rate?
So between 32 and 33.6. 32 to the required for Gen Z.
And the thing is that who's supposed to come up with the solutions for the country?
Entrepreneurs.
No, it's the government that's supposed to do that.
You know,
You see, so if they are not creating enough jobs and they don't want the blame, of course, the blame is gonna go. What's the lowest hanging fruit to pick on? Is the migrants, not just the migrants. We gotta be specific. It's black migrants. To be honest.
That's why I say like the other migrants are seen as creating opportunities and creating and investing in South Africa. You can go ahead.
Yeah. So when it comes to that, it's always a sleight of hand with politics. Like as in, this is what's happening. This is the reality, and because let me tell you, we as black people, we go through a lot, and we also want to blame someone. So if someone comes and says, and the thing is that it starts off as I'm not gonna say a room. It's always like, we don't know where these things come from, and it's just there, and then migrants are stealing jobs. Where is the conversation starting from?
this question about migrants stealing jobs and so on. Is this something you find yourself thinking about, talking about? Is this
Not really? No, but the thing is that also, like, I think we need to, like, when it comes to migrants and when it comes to Africa, I'm always taken aback because we're not supposed to be in this situation. All of these borders were created by a group of Europeans that set somewhere, I think, what was it, in Germany in the 1800s, and then they divided this continent into what it is now. Before that, Africans you're telling me that before English we were not able to communicate. It does not make sense, because I know that in my language there are words that Tamiso in your language are the same. When you speak your language, I can understand some of it. So it means that we were able to communicate somehow. And a lot of African, a lot of African tribes, you know what they used to do? Yes, they write a lot of stories about, the Zulus and the Xhosas used to fight. In Zim, it's the Debeles and the Shonas. But one thing that they don't tell you is that it's not like we always fight all the time. It was peace. And for us to have peace, I would take my daughter, marry them in that clan, and more that they will marry our daughters in their clan, so that there is that cross-pollination of cultures. Let me tell you. Yeah. And the thing is that a lot of people that they don't understand is that, especially in South Africa, there's a lot of cross-pollination of cultures. A lot of families, the one thing that they don't know is that most of their blood is not pure South African blood. Because if we actually track back history, a lot of Zimbabweans, Mozambicans, Malawians, Zambians came and worked in the mines in Igoli there. Those guys impregnated women and they named their women, their kids Ayanda.
But even
And whatever. Before that, this is the modern times. Even before that, like as in, there was always like before colonization, our cultures used to like intermarry. That's how we used to do trade and whatever. And to keep peace, you know that you're giving me your daughter, I'm giving you my son. All of that, like it was always that. So I don't understand this whole animosity that's been.
Let me tell you what I think. I think, perception is reality. And when we think of perception, right, we say, it's just...
I really don't like that statement.
No,
But I understand what you're saying.
Let me tell you why I'm saying it. It goes to a lot of things that you're talking about. Perception is reality in the sense that, we are told that there's scarcity of jobs. We are told that migrants are killing jobs. We are told that there is scarcity of land. We are told that there's scarcity of resources. We are told that there's scarcity of any skill or entrepreneurs or anything, but if you look at the reality on the ground, it usually departs from that perception. But that perception becomes the reality that pushes people to not only speak on the narrative but also act on the narrative.
The acting.
You understand?
Oh.
So I think this is my thinking, and I think this is a bit of a controversial part, but I don't think, especially if you look at in South Africa, but more specifically if you look at the things that are happening in Europe, I don't think jobs are scarce. It's a reality of job scarcity, and there's aspects of corruption, there's nepotism and all of that can't end. How can we be living in 2025 and we're still saying that there is scarcity of land? But the perception of the scarcity of land is real. Look at the people who are grouped in spaces, in different spaces, right? But there is so much land. Tell me, how much land?
See, but wait. I think you're misrepresenting the point. Scarcity of land doesn't mean there isn't enough land for everyone to have a piece of land.
No,
scarcity of land is about arable, habitable.
No, but I'm saying but Taliso, I was telling you about how there is a reality right now in the world. There are more empty houses than people who are homeless, right? I know we are not talking about land that's not arable, but if we speak of land that's arable, land that is livable, there is more land that can be provided even to people who are living in the spaces that are squeezed. So for me, that's where the perception becomes reality, because there is no land, and then you are taking my land. And then there needs to be a scapegoat who needs to suffer for that perception that has been created to say,
what's the least earning fruit?
Exactly.
And that,
so
that,
for me,
that unity. So so there's a lot of points that you touched on, obviously. I mean, the perception of scarcity, come on now. Like you literally you guys just took a road trip from Pretoria to Cape Town.
Yeah.
Right now. And you guys saw the land out there. It's not like you did not see that. There's nothing is quiet. Like, I have passed through a lot of provinces, and the land. Land is there. It's not like there's no land. It's the distribution of the land. Yeah. That's the problem. It's not the land itself. That's the problem.
If it's not terrible, we'll stay there. Sorry.
and why are we in this situation? I always blame capitalism and greed, because those two go hand in hand, more or less. Because why do I have, 300 acres of land, and then I cannot give a certain portion to other people to live in? And then all of those people are, we all know history and what happened. This is not just happened in SA, it happened also in Zim. Like, as in, the good parts of the land were taken and all of that. Yes, in Zim, land has been taken back, of which, if we start talking about Zim now, that's a whole other discussion. It will take at least a day to unpack the basic knowledge, and let's not go there.
Yeah.
But as in, when you talk about perception versus reality, it's the oldest trick in the book that politicians use. I want you guys I'm going to tell you guys this, and I want you guys to follow up on it. I'm sure at some point in time, probably xenophobia is going to flare up again. It's going to come.
Friends.
I want you guys to notice something. You have to ask yourself, what's happening in the background? Because xenophobia will probably they'll push it for like a month or so in the papers, and it's flaring up everywhere and ton. I want you guys to go on these papers and go maybe to page 6 or page 12. What's happening? That's where the real story is happening. Why there's a sleight of hand? Because it's almost like it's a distraction from what's really happening in the background. Probably there's some other crazy deal that the government is trying to push that's happening, and then that flares up. I'm not saying that they are the ones that are causing xenophobia, but for me, it's a mystery that xenophobia can flare up in 5 different cities at the same time. That sounds like something that's planned and meticulously planned.
Yeah.
More or less. Don't you guys think so? I know the remnants are there, but the way it flares up, like it's in Joburg, then it's in Cape Town, and then it's in Durban, and then all at the same time. Like that, and then for a week, and then it just dies down. What are we talking about here?
And this is what I think, for me at least, this is what I think. I think xenophobia is a reality that is lived every day. You know, the attacks are flare-ups, and it might be opportunities in terms of the times that the flare-ups happen, close to elections or close to page 6, something happening, or as a cover-up. But I literally think that it's a reality that that happens every day. You know, in different spaces and in different spaces that people occupy. But what I think also is a perception that we have been made to buy into and believe into is a perception that, when we look at perception and reality, is a perception of richness, so to speak. And specifically, I was talking to someone about how in the United States, Bernie Sanders currently is talking about how America is only rich, for example, or Americans are considered rich as an example, because Elon Musk has the world's wealth, right? So on average, Americans are rich, but Elon Musk on his own owns more money than 52% of the population. So if he sits in this room, then we are rich, but I am not rich. Do you understand? So I think that perception also happens in African countries or in African populations where we fold into this perception of, for example, South Africa is rich, right? But if you look at a South African, right, especially if you look at the populations, are they rich? That gets to be more controversial. And I think that also gets people to look at, who's next to me? Who's the person that is taking a share of that richness for me? And starts xenophobic attacks, and also starts to flare up aspects of, you are stealing my job as a migrant, you're an outsider, you don't belong. So for me, that's how I also think about it in terms of the relation of that perception, but also the perception of wealth and the perception of participating in wealth and not being wealthy. You know, because you say we are wealthy as a country, but where are you? What's your pie of the population in terms of that?
I think I hear what you're saying, and I hear also the perception of, I mean, the countries are wealthy and the average wealth. But when it comes to like us as people, like we operate, there are 3 main functions that control a human being. There's hope, faith, fear. These are actually 3. Yeah, hope, faith, and fear. More or less, that's what that's literally that is what can control a human being, you know, as in the hope of things will get better in the future, that will make you do something, the fear that things can get bad in the future, and the faith that things might be good in the future. That's why a lot of politicians, a lot of these pastors can and rivers and churches can manipulate people because of these 3 things, more or less: hope, faith, and fear.
Yeah.
Right now, if you can manipulate any one of these, you're causing issues in any point in time, because those are the only 3 things that will manipulate you. So now let's talk about back to the point of xenophobia and stuff. While we're looking at these 3 things, right? What is the fear? The fear is that, these guys are taking our jobs. The hope is that if we chase these guys out, maybe things will be better and we get jobs. Right? And then the faith is like, okay, our politicians maybe at some point in time they'll do something to make our country better. So it's all manipulation.
As I was hearing you speaking about these three things, do you realize that there is none of these three things that are tangible?
That's the thing.
Because when we start going into that as well, we'll talk about hope. Faith is a whole conversation for another episode. And the fear part, like what you mentioned, you know, I don't think the fear exists, but the presence of a threat, is it there? That's something that's just debatable as well. But yeah, I think it's a conversation that we can continue having and we can continue growing into. But I think it is important to say to thank Kitapo Space for having us. But also before I close the episode, I want to give you an opportunity to go for parting shots in terms of all of the aspects. I know we've spoken about a lot of things, but think of the things that we've spoken about in terms of entrepreneurship, being brave enough to create a business, aspects of employment, employability, and all those aspects. I want you to give parting shots in terms of what has to happen, where are we going, where are we, and
okay. To be honest, okay, so my parting shot is that okay, I'm gonna give like a whole conclusion. I think Africa needs more entrepreneurship than corporate jobs. So, because with entrepreneurship, we can solve solutions and create employment. You know, I really am of the thought that we need more entrepreneurships than anyone else. We don't need investment in Africa. We need entrepreneurs to come up with solutions. And those solutions will create jobs. Because we all say, like, you hear the government speaking about bringing in funding and all of that. Where is this funding going to? How many jobs are being created with all this funding that's coming out? And who is it helping? Because yes, it comes. Let's say 100 million comes in here. How many people are going to benefit from that? We all know who's going to benefit from that, but how many other average people are going to benefit from all of this funding? Yeah. But if Betty from Langa starts a restaurant, and that restaurant does well and she employs 25 people, that's a victory, isn't it? That's a step in the right direction. Yeah. As I always said, entrepreneurship is what Africa needs more than anything else.
Yeah.
And what else? Let's not teach our kids just how to save, and let's teach them early on how do we create value with our talents? How do we monetize our talents? As I said, always. That's
unfortunately they took that advice and they don't only fans.
And they're being rich. Oh, that's not a talent, dog. Yeah. So as in, how do you monetize your talents and all of that? And also, when you want to get into entrepreneurship, then make sure that you are ready for it. Because a lot of people get into it and then they're not ready. And then they get surprised by how many challenges that come with that and how many mountains you have to climb.
Yeah.
And once you reach at the peak of the other mountain, that's when you realize, shit, there's another, you still need to keep climbing. And and then just be resilient. Because, you do need thick skin, a very thick skin, when it comes to entrepreneurship, more or less. But also just get in and grind and just play your part in the growth of Africa, man. That's all I ask for African entrepreneurs. Young Africans, old Africans. Let's just try and get solutions for this beautiful paradise that we call Africa, more or less. Yeah.
I think if I can sum that up a bit, it's this aspect of saying that as Africans, we need solutions more than problems, but also basically we need to strap up and go for it.
Exactly.
I think for me, it's the parting shot is African gin. I think my parting shot is the aspect of Africanism. Realistically speaking, I think we need to find solutions that are suited for the African continent by African people as well. You know, I think we are not doing enough. And I think that's why one of the things that we have spoken about in terms of your passion for the African continent, my passion for the African continent, and how we can build into a space where we find solutions to African problems. Because I think we also have had a space where there's a lot of copy paste in terms of Western solutions become.
I was about to, I was about to interrupt you. Like, I think we missed the big ass spoons. I was about to, like, you know what? I think I need to, like, put my 2 cents there, like, as in. We're still on the parting shots, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think Africans were lazy. We're not. I might think our leadership is lazy because we don't take time to, because okay, we are living like us as Africans. Before all the colonization and everything, we had our economies and our politics and all of that things that used to happen there. We had a way of doing business. We had barter trade. If you read how to do business as an African, you know that you make money, but you also benefit the community.
Yeah.
So back then, we are social entrepreneurs. That's in our blood. Yes, make your money, but what else are you giving back to the society? It's not just about the money that you're making. It's got to be fair money. Everyone has to win.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just about you and your money making. Like, we cannot be the richest continent on paper and the poorest in reality. That's just something that's unheard of.
Yeah.
More or less. Yeah. So we as Africans, I'm not saying we gotta wake up, but I think at some point in time we gotta answer to the call of our ancestors of what we need to do as Africans to benefit Africans. Because one thing that I know as Africans, we're not willing to learn the system. I always tell people this, like, the world is not operated by African principles. It's operated by Western principles. But we're not taking time to learn even the Western principles so that they can benefit us. Right? Because you know that you have played sport before, right?
Yeah. I have.
You play sport, you understand your opponent first, and then you can use your opponent's advantage to your own advantage. I mean, your opponent's game plan to your own advantage. Africans, we gotta learn what is it. What are these systems? After that, we can then see if we can Africanize all of this Western system. Because right now, they are not structured in a place where Africans can benefit. Like, everything is rigged against Africa. So what is it that we can do as Africans to to make things better for us? More or less, because things are like, as I said, I was telling you, like, it's already hard being an African in Africa, but what's hard is being a black entrepreneur in Africa. We gotta, so that whole thing is that we gotta learn the system. After we learn the system, how do we make it beneficial for us?
I think I'll take it as creating our own system as well. Apart from using it, apart from adapting from a system that you already know. And I think there's something that I'm just going to talk about and trigger you and put it on the side, because the hope, fear, and faith aspect, is something that we need to talk about, because I think it also goes into what you were saying in terms of how Africans can create their own systems. And I personally think hope, faith, and fear are the things that also stop us from making our own system, especially the fear part, especially the faith part, because we're not going to define it, but people already know it. But thank you so much for hosting us, and thank you so much for sponsoring this episode. And we are really excited to see what becomes of this partnership, and also seeing where we grow to from here. I think there's a lot of conversations to be had.
Very, like, I would like if you guys can have like a round table.
Yeah, I think you should have a round table.
A round table.
Kitapo, right? A round table.
In my culture, you call it a gungano. Like, I know you guys have a name for it. Where people gather around and share ideas. Exactly.
A round table is also always something that can also bring different topics into but also brings different minds into perspective. And also, thank you so much for watching this episode. And remember, Kitapo in Southern Sun on the website and all this.
All of that. We're coming. We're coming. We're going to be in Checkers soon, Pick and Pay, all of those places soon. And yeah, let's go. Let's get it.
Amazing stuff. I'm Ivan Munashikatseri. I am an African, and I have been with Tino Gavaza.
Africans on Africa.